Like, there can't be a lot of weird things about the way the car dealership is set up, meaning it's got to have the requisite amount of service bays and service capacity for the brand, for the town. So if you're at a big domestic store and you're buying a store with 8 bays, that's a problem. At the very least, it's a construction project, but it's a problem day one. It's going to be really hard to buy the kind of stores that I want to buy, the size of them, and sell 120 new cars and 120 used cars.
Welcome to The Fuel Line, where we explore all things automotive with a focus on mergers and acquisitions. Hi, my name's Fareed Ahmed. I'm the founder and the CEO of DSMA and your favorite podcast host. Each episode, we connect with influential figures that drive the automotive landscape. Let's shift into gear and get started. Today, we are sitting down with someone who built a serious, impressive business empire across the southern United States, Matt Bowers. Matt is the owner of Matt Bowers Automotive Group, which operates dealerships in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee, spanning both domestic and import brands. He also owns Great Southern Acceptance, an indirect auto lending company, and Black Oat Holdings, a commercial residential real estate firm with assets across the same region. Matt, we're excited to gain your insight and welcome you to our show.
Good morning. It's great to be here. Thank you.
So Matt, I'll start where I always like to start. And I think everybody's obviously curious, when somebody's so successful as you and you're on so many media platforms. What's your story, Matt? How did you start? Maybe you could share with our audience a bit more about Matt.
I didn't think there was anything very special about my story, but as I've gotten older, I think there's a few things that maybe are notable these days. But I was just a kid off the street. My dad died when I was a little boy. I was 7. My grandmother raised me, hard-working lady. She worked at the front desk at a hotel in New Orleans, Louisiana, where I'm from, where I grew up, the concierge desk. I would go to school, come home, go play ball, do whatever. I grew up in New Orleans, never giving 1 second of thought at a time of what I'm going to do as a career. I got into the car business sort of by accident. I was in law school. First year. I'm not saying I would have made it. I'm saying I was there at Loyola University in New Orleans, and I wanted to have my own, I wanted stuff. I wanted to get an apartment, and I wanted to get a car and stuff like this. And I had a friend of mine that worked in a car dealership as a finance guy, and I think he barely got out of high school. Okay, and he had all those things, and so I said, "Do you think they would hire me?" He said, "Yes, they would." And I showed up there. I asked to be a finance person, and they hired me as a salesman. And that's kind of how it went.
How old were you at the time, Matt?
I was 21. I was 21 years old. I graduated high school at 17. In college, I graduated at 21. And I started there and kind of, my journey. I sold cars. I moved up through the ranks. And then the store I was at, I was recruited to go to a different car dealership in Metro New Orleans. And they call everybody in one day and they said, "Hey, we've decided to sell the car dealership." So that's my first experience in any kind of a buy sell. I was maybe 23 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they said, "Well, the people," I'm like, "Who's buying it?" The people buying it is a publicly traded company. And they compared it to like Home Depot or, there's mom and pop hardware stores and there's like Home Depot. And this is sort of the future. As was explained to us at the time. And that company was a company called Group One, who had just, rolled up the year before that. And I spent, several years of my career working for them, worked in markets across the country, and then later went on to be a partner with a couple of big, well-known private dealers that everybody would know, and then went on my own. But that's how I started, just off the street as a kid. Yeah.
So tell us, what was going through your head when you decided to buy your first store? There must have been, what was the motivation? A lot of people that that log into our podcast, they are individuals that want to become a car dealer. And so much is about is inspiration as well as aspiration. But maybe you could share a little bit with our audience as to what was going through your head and how did you execute that?
Well, first thing I'll say is this, is that I tell anybody this, that if I did it, like if I did it with my story, that means that you could probably do it. But there was a few things about me that probably made this happen. The motivating factor was I performed really highly as a general manager and partner, and I was a percentage owner. I was a 20% owner, 25% owner. But if it's in people to be 100% owner, if that's in you, that's in you, and it's going to be very difficult to take that out of people. Some people, it's not really in them like that, like they'd like to do it, but I really wanted to do it. So I knew that for me to go buy a car dealership, I was going to have money of some sort, or I could ask a lot of other people for their money, and I have no money, so that I can be rich. You give me your money so I can be rich. I don't know that's a compelling case for a lot of folks, right? Okay, so I had a little bit of money saved up. And then this next part, I don't say this any sort of a self-promoting way or anything like that. As a car operator, I wasn't like, he's a pretty good car guy or he's real good. I was an elite car operator, flat out. Like, this city, this city, this city, this city. Like I was an elite car operator, and I wanted it worse than anything that you could think of. So I tell people lots of times, I've said it publicly, what are you willing to do to go achieve your goal? Assuming you're elite and you produce great numbers. I'll do anything. I say, okay, call your wife and tell her you're moving to Boston next week. Well, I can't do that because my wife is close to my mother-in-law. I said, okay, well, you're out. Okay. So you're going to have to do more than I was willing to do. And I was willing to do anything. And there's 1,000 dudes like me. So what makes you different?
So true. So shifting over to, you're expanding so rapidly. I know you're looking at multiple deals on a daily basis, which is fantastic. But when you're looking to evaluate an opportunity, Matt, what are the key fundamentals that you must have in the next opportunity for you?
I mean, this is through trial and error, and this is just my own opinion. I don't know if there was a definitive guide of how to buy a car dealership. I think that we would publish it, you and I, and sell it out.
Sure, exactly.
But I think to each his own, and I also think if you're determined to make something work enough, like if you're absolutely convinced this is going to work and you're going to make it work, dudes can make just about anything work. But in my experience, you got to have what I would call a good setup. Okay, like there can't be a lot of weird things about the way the car dealership is set up. Meaning, it's got to have the requisite amount of service bays and service capacity for the brand, for the town, right? So if you're at a big domestic store and you're buying a store with 8 bays, that's a problem. It's a problem if you have success in sales. I mean, at the very least, it's a construction project, okay, at some point. But it's a problem day one. It's going to be really hard to buy the kind of stores that I want to buy, the size of them, and sell 120 new cars and 120 used cars and do all that and service all of our customers out of 8 or 9 service bays. That's very difficult to do.
Got it. The capacity's the huge indicator.
It's a problem. And I see that sometimes. Another thing for me, and I learned this, I own small stores. And look, some dudes can make small stores work. I'm not able to do it. Like, to me, a 300 unit planning volume store is as hard to run as a 1,800 unit planning volume store, in my opinion. Historically, those are the hardest stores to sell, little tiny kitty ones. Now, during COVID and all that sort of changed a little bit, but I assume it may change back. But it's got to be in a certain size market and planning volume for me to look at it. And then lastly, I got to believe that I can take the store and make it better. Even if I'm wrong, okay, I have to believe that at least. So, it doesn't really matter who I'm buying it from. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You could take my stores and make mine better. It just depends on how determined you are to do. But I have to believe I can make them better. Okay. And if I believe I can make them better, and it's big enough, then I'll try to buy it.
I love that word belief. It's very ingrained in the way you look at things, and belief is 80% of the game, I think, sometimes. So tell me, expansion. Every successful operator that I've had the pleasure of working with, they have a secret sauce, and it's normally built into their culture. It's built into their operations, their quality of the job. How do you go about ensuring that as you expand, that quality stays there, and more importantly, your culture is integrated and adopted by your next acquisition?
That's a great question. And I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about this recently because if you look at what I own, you look at the car dealerships that I own, they're really lined up along the Interstate 10, right along the Gulf of America, or right along the Gulf Coast. Okay. And then I have one that's up in, Metro Nashville, Tennessee. When you have a bunch of stores in one location, I mean, the identity to the stores is me. It's hard to get away from that. So the people around you sort of take on the identity or the beliefs or the overall aura of the owner, the leader, okay, lots of times. Now, as I do deals in other states, and right now I have 2 under contract in 2 different states, that are not, they're not lined up along with the rest of them. I think you're going to have to shift and change a little bit, So I think that those stores will take on the personality of their leader in that store. Okay. So I have to be open-minded enough to realize that. Like, I can give the framework, but if I'm not going to be in the store day to day, or if it's going to be 9 hours from me, now it's up to me to hire leaders in those stores that demonstrate the same, mindset that I have.
And the characteristics of leadership.
Correct. And so we're looking for people that are smart, street smart at the very least. And I'm looking for people that are competitive. It's very easy to get used to losing or failing, or accept that or rationalize that. There is no rationalizing that in our company. We don't make excuses for anything. Okay. And the goal is to win. Culture is about one thing: winning. That's culture.
That's culture. Yes.
So find me a great culture where they lose all the time. It's not existing.
Talking about culture, leadership. If I asked all your top performers in your organization, and I said, in say 3 words, describe to me Matt's leadership style, what would be the top 3 words to use about your management leadership style, Matt?
Direct would be number 1, probably. I think direct, I think honest, and I think consistent.
You're very driven. Does it frustrate you from time to time when you're leading from the front and you're trying to bring everybody along with you? And how do you deal with those frustrations? Because you're clearly motivated, you're clearly driven, more than most people I've ever met. But it must be frustrating for you at times where you're trying to get everybody coming along at the same pace.
I think early in my career it was, look, if I have to drag you to the fight to go fight, okay, if I have to go, drag you to go find your paycheck, you're just probably not the right dude, ultimately. So so now that's part of it, like it's never perfect. Like running a car dealership I tell the operators this, like when we review our months, I don't care what we did. I don't care how much money we made. I don't care what the metrics are. I don't care if we did 50% net to gross. I don't care what we did. It's not like a Snickers bar where you bite it. You're like, ah, that's it. That's perfect right there. That's it. We're done. That's the best the car business has to give right there. Same thing in running companies like mine. I think that you do the best, put the best people in place that you can. And look, sometimes people fall short. Sometimes people aren't exactly what you want them to be, but they still perform, right? So, I've had to get over that. People are not going to act like me. Okay. I thought I was how you were supposed to be. And if you didn't act like there was something wrong with you. And at the end of the day, as I've gotten older, here are the numbers, here are the measurements. Here's what we expect in terms of profitability. Inside that profitability, here are the key metrics that we look at. And if you hit these metrics, if it's comp to gross, net to gross, our volume objectives, CSI objectives. And if you do that, okay, you can lead from whatever part of the room you want to lead from. Okay. As long as we achieve the objective, it's working.
So my last question, Matt, I know how busy you are and how much in demand you are to run your business. Let's talk about the future now, and let's go to the end of the future, which is legacy. If you could describe to the audience when Matt and Fareed are beyond this earth and somebody's looking at your legacy, what would you like them to say, Matt, about your legacy?
I always think this is a funny topic because like car dealers, no offense, car dealers out there, okay? But man, we got some crazy dudes that are car dealers. Like
ain't that the truth?
Oh man, like we think we're super big deal, dude. Okay, like big deal. Like we're the richest guys in the world, and no, we're not. Okay, so I look at it like this. I will help. I think if you are very good at something, if you are elite at something, you will help a lot of people along the way, just by proxy of being that good. Okay, whether you're that great of a garbage man, a veterinarian, or a car dealer, if you are the best, you are going to impact a tremendous amount of people around you. My legacy, I buy and own car dealerships. I didn't cure disease. Okay, so I don't have any expectations for my own legacy outside of the people that I might have helped, that might have tell somebody one day that I helped them. I will be like Barry Sanders. I will do this, and then one day I will decide I don't want to do this anymore, and I won't do it anymore. And it doesn't define who I am, But as long as I wake up and I still feel compelled to go take on challenges in this industry, I will. But one day, Reed, I'm going to wake up and go, man, I think I might want to go to play golf in Ireland this year, and that'll be it.
Right.
So I don't have any expectations for my legacy beyond what I just spoke to you.
Yeah. One of my largest and greatest clients, he's retired now from business. He had this great line. And I asked him the similar kind of question. He said, Fareed, I don't want to be the richest guy in the grave. And it really resonated with me, that you can't take it with you. I've never seen a Brinks truck follow a hearse. So pick your battles, enjoy some of your life and your hard work. Matt, I know that whatever you do, we'll all be watching with excitement. And I think you're going to do an amazing job. And there should be more dealers like you in this industry, in my opinion. Thank you for today coming on the Fuel Line. Greatly appreciate it. And I hope our audience walk away with at least some inspiration that if you can do it, I may have a chance of doing it. And I think that's the essence of what you were saying today. And I really appreciate that.
Anything is possible if you don't know any better. Okay.
Yes, that's a great line. That's a great line. Matt, thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you.